we ran into problems like day one. I had to pick up dog shit in the backyard like immediately when it hit the ground. One day, I went to collect my hockey gear, and she'd, put the dog shit in my hockey bag. I was at work. I get a call that my dog, he's like pooping out blood. She called animal control saying I was neglecting my dog.
Whoa.
So the landlord sees your dog is sick or something, and maybe she poisoned it. Like the way
That's
she's
what I
acting,
thought, to be honest, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe she did it.
Jeez, I never even thought about that.
We've seen a lot of bad landlords on this show, but this next caller's landlord is at least number 2. We're going to hear about the story of shit in a hockey bag. Wesley Snipes, that is a fake name, but you are a real person. What legal issue are you going through? You're on the Barely Legal Show.
Hey guys, so I have basically I got a ding on my credit report from a lease from 4 years ago. A landlord trying to collect remaining rent after a lease was terminated early.
Okay. Ooh. Who terminated it?
Myself, by moving out.
Okay.
Tell us some more. Why'd you move out? Let's go back in time and relive this nightmare.
Pretend it's a first date. Yeah. Tell me about this breakup.
Oh my gosh. All right, how much time you got?
Just let it happen.
So I was wondering if you guys are gonna want just the straight details or want me to get into the funny stuff.
You give us the full shebang, man. Let's hear it, Wesley.
Okay. All right. So basically, let me start out by saying, like, I have dogs and I'm a drummer. So, throughout my mid-20s, housing was kind of hard because I couldn't live in an apartment.
And you weren't good at drumming?
I always had to find a house. Yeah, I didn't want to hear it.
See, if you can keep a beat, they actually don't mind it. But, okay. So continue.
You know what's funny, though, is they always mind it, especially if you're living in an apartment. Yeah, I learned that the hard way in college dorms. Even with an electric kit, apparently the bass drum still makes a ton of noise. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I don't have to deal with that. I want to just, play drums when it's cool with my roommates. So I've always had to have roommates. And that was a challenge I had in 2020 because I was living in Richardson and needed a place to stay as my roommates were getting like married or moving out of the, city or whatever. So, didn't have any luck, and time was kind of ticking down. And, I even resorted to, like a roommate. It was like Tinder, but for roommates. I forget what it was called. It was,
Tinder?
Yes. Exactly.
Lesbian Tinder.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's Tinder for roommates? It's just lesbian Tinder.
No luck on there though, unfortunately. So I resorted to Craigslist, and that that is the moral of the story.
Jesus Christ, son! Let's stop right there.
Man, yeah,
you gotta wear a finger condom just to type that in.
It's like the back pages of home listings.
So you got the roommate off Craigslist, or you found the place to live off Craigslist?
Both. Yeah. Found a great place because I was looking for sublets, and that was kind of hard to find because the roommate finder site was like people going in a house, and then you were gonna all together look for a place to lease. Well, then in my desperation, I resorted to just finding a place to sublet, like a lease that's already in progress that someone needs to take over. So
we've all seen Inception. We all know what a sublet is.
Oh, right.
All right. So you found this place and
found a place. Yeah. Super nice. It was right next to my office. It was like almost too good to be true. It was off a golf course in a pretty ritzy suburb of Dallas. And the rent was pretty reasonable. So reasonable that I thought I could rent 2 rooms for, $1,400 total. Which, like today, that's pretty good post-COVID. But, I had basically the entire upstairs to myself. I was like,
so you signed a lease?
Crazy. Yes, I did. Yeah. It was actually, I thought it was going to be a sublease. I visited the place. I was like, who are my roommates going to be? Because I met with the landlord. And I was like, who are my roommates going to be? She's like, this is my house. I live here. And it's like old, like very, very single lady in her 50s. And I was like, oh boy.
Go on.
Okay. What was she wearing?
Yeah.
Give us a little vibe so we can understand who we're dealing with here. Is this a Nanny McPhee? Is this a Mrs. Doubtfire? What do we got?
Make her look in your eyes and say, hey, step bro.
Let me try. Who's a celebrity that I could compare this person to for everyone to just know?
The mom from Waterboy.
No, what is it? Arrested Development. What's the lady that?
The mom?
Yeah, no, she's the voice for one of the ladies in Archer too.
How much is a banana anyway? That one?
Liza Minnelli? Liza Minnelli?
Is that it?
The dark-haired lady, the neighbor?
No, like Lucille Bluth. Like
yes, Lucille Bluth.
Lucille Bluth can get it.
Yeah.
Bluth.
Yeah, she can get it. Jessica Walter, she can get it.
Okay.
Jessica Walter, yeah. I should have my laptop out and Googling stuff. All right, yeah, but like I mean that in the worst way. And just like
she looked like Jessica Walter in a horrible way.
They're great value.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just but you said Liza Minnelli, and I think actually I'm going to switch my answer to that.
Okay.
We've gone down a rabbit hole.
All right.
So you signed a lease.
Anyway, sorry. I asked you guys how much time you had.
Okay, so you signed. Hold on. So you signed a lease with Liza Minnelli, and what happened next?
Pretty standard boilerplate lease. You know, like if you Google like standard Texas lease, that's what it was. But we ran into problems like day one. I had friends help me move in. They came in from out of town actually and stayed the night. And I moved in on like a Sunday or something like that. So I had to go to work the next day. And then I get a call saying like, hey, the person that helped you move is still in the house and you're gone. I'm like, yeah, I let him stay in this room that I'm renting from you. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You have to be here. I'm like, what? It's like, I don't want that person in my house. And I'm like,
was that in your
where
lease?
in the lease?
Yeah,
no, I'm actually looking at the lease right now and I'm trying to find that rule. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Let me pause real quick. When you were renting, is it that there's essentially a duplex upstairs, downstairs, or is it like a full access, you're all sharing the same kitchen and living space, but she has a room, you have a room?
The second. Yeah, the latter, for sure.
All right. Just want to make sure people understand what we're talking about here. So you're sharing a house with Liza Minnelli. Your friend who moves stays in. She calls you up. She's pissed, and you can't find any issue with it in the lease.
No, and in the lease and just in general, you know, they didn't have like face tattoos and very intimidating person. It was just like, and they're just sleeping upstairs. But it's like I hear someone walking around up there. I'm like, yeah, like my friend's just staying here. And then, yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, it's like tough luck. She's like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, okay, fine. And basically, over the course of this lease, it was like things like that. Like, hey, you can't do that. Well, it's not in the lease. Okay, we'll sign this like amendment to the lease or something like that. I'm like, no.
She was giving you amendments to change the rules.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? No, and that was just day one, and it got worse because
so were you allowed to
quotas?
Were you allowed to date? Like, could you have a date over?
Did she have to watch if you brought someone over?
My friend that stayed with me is now my wife.
Oh,
wow.
But you say he just a friend?
Yeah, dude, that's some love.
You assumed it was a guy. All right, but let me throw that out there. Yeah.
Whoa,
so
that's insecurity, buddy.
I'll roast.
All right, but that was a
I'm just saying, if the chances of you inviting someone to help you move in was probably going to be a guy, but no, we're digressing. Mm-hmm. So you marry this, trespasser in the eyes of Lucille Ball. And I know that's not right, it's Liza Minnelli, but go ahead.
No, and just for the record, we got married 2 months ago.
Congrats.
So, yeah.
Congratulations, buddy.
So we didn't get married right after that.
Didn't care. Didn't ask. Didn't care.
Okay, but when did...
So this is about debt? What is this call about? You got debt on your...
I want to go back. I want to know, did you tell your roommate, Liza Minnelli, that you were a drummer?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was another kind of minor problem, is that, God, I have so much, crap to talk about, but yeah, I could never play drums basically because I rented 2 rooms. One was my bedroom, one was my office / drum room. I couldn't play drums because I could have, but I'd be a total dick because she's home all the time. She actually didn't have a job, and never left the house on top of that. So I think she was relying on my rent money to kind of pay her mortgage.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So
you would never let a drummer into your house just for fun. So she's clearly desperate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you even in a band?
No, thankfully, because band practice would have been at our place, and it's that would have been hell for her. But
never.
Like I said, she never left the house. And yeah, I don't know. So that was one other issue. Gosh.
So you
another
weren't
one,
playing
there's
drums. So how did the breakup happen? How did you decide you needed to move out?
What was the final straw?
Okay, let me get rolling here. I had to pick up dog shit in the backyard like immediately when it hit the ground for my dog. One day, I guess I missed a log or something like that. I went to collect my hockey gear to play a game that night. I play like beer league hockey. She'd put the dog shit in my hockey bag.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I just ran
Wait,
it up.
hold on. The dog.
Yeah.
Where do you keep the hockey bag? In the house?
In the garage.
In the garage.
And it's nowhere near the backyard. It was very deliberate.
Wow.
Very deliberate.
Jacked up, bro. I would have.
And she would not own up to it too. She would not own up to it, which is the infuriating part. She's like, "Oh, that's kind of funny," and I'm like, "Dude, no one else is in this house. I'm not allowed to have anyone else in this house for them to do that." So that was one issue.
Wait. Was she just trying to act like the dog found the hockey bag and then pooped in it? Was that?
No, it's
the
on the
zipper?
shelf. Yeah, I don't have a cat. It can't climb up the shelf. It's a corgi.
Dude, this lady is like winning like 11-0, right? She gets you in, you're paying, then she's like, change yourself. All right, no drumming, no bringing people
No
over.
sex.
Then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I guess we just put the dog poop in my hockey bag. I mean,
yeah, it was pretty much not my dog's fault, but everything kind of centered around the dog when shit really hit the fan because
when shit hit the hockey bag. Shit hit the hockey bag. No.
Right.
Wait, we can't move on yet. I need an exact
It gets worse.
play-by-play
It gets worse.
breakdown of when you saw the shit in the hockey bag. What was the next thing you did?
Just angrily stormed into the house and knocked on her door, and had her explain herself. I'm so non-confrontational, and this just brought.
So
up
what
the
did she
worst to me.
say?
This is the
So
first
you're
of
like,
many
there's
times.
shit in my
No,
hockey
didn't.
bag.
She laughed. She laughed, and then played oh, how did that happen? And
wow.
I think she was laughing at my anger and misery.
Wow.
Damn,
Yeah.
this woman was cruel.
Fecal harassment. That's a new level.
Yeah. I mean, there could be diseases in there. It's getting really personal.
It sounds like she just wanted a quiet slave. You can't have dogs or girlfriends or friends.
Did you have to
drum.
brush her hair every night? Did you have to pick up her slippers and shit
Put
like
lotion
that?
on her?
Did she eat your cereal?
I'm pretty sure the animosity started because she saw that I was seeing a girl and then knew that I was off the table, and then it just got nasty.
Yes, I think that's what it was.
That's it.
That's
she saw
probably it. So
hunky Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes coming in. She was like, "This guy, he's the one."
Drummer boy that plays hockey? You kidding me? What was she
Yeah, fucking Fallout Boy.
and then a
is
girl
mine.
helps me move in, and I say, "Yeah, we're seeing each other," and she's like, "Well, I can't date this guy, so I'm just gonna screw his life over."
Man.
Try to get money off of him. I
Okay,
don't know.
so you get the poop, and then what? What's between poop and move out?
Okay, so staying on the topic of the dog, I was at work. I get a call that my dog, who has to stay in the kennel while I'm at work, by the way, can't be wandering around, and he's pooping out blood. He's really sick. He ate something, and I'm at work trying to get a call. And before I can even get home, animal control is called. And she called animal control saying I was neglecting my dog.
Whoa.
And so not only am I worried about my dog, but now I had to deal with animal control, and I literally have the notice here from the city. And the animal control guy, when I came and talked to him, he's like, you know what he told me? He's like, we know the nature of this call, and we know Liza. The city knows this person, and I'm just doing this because I have to do it. So, yep. And moving on from that incident, there's
Wait,
another
let's stay here for
incident
one
where-
more second. Is there? You went to work, and your dog was in the kennel. Who knew your dog was pooping blood? The landlord?
Yeah, because she never leaves the house, and she has interior cameras that, she doesn't have to leave her room.
Where's
actually.
your dog in the house?
So the landlord sees your dog is sick or something, and maybe she poisoned it. The way
That's
she's
what I
acting,
thought, to be honest, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe
Oh.
she did it.
Jeez, I never even thought about that.
You're a nice guy, bro. You can
Bro,
tell.
I mean, I'm gonna tell
Well-
you, as a dog owner, that it's a pretty rare, just the old random poop out the ass.
Here's the thing. Here's why I think she might have poisoned it or tried to hurt the dog. Because if you see a dog is in distress, what's the first thing you do? You call the owner. You don't call animal control and say neglect.
No, she did. She told me, and then between that time and the time I actually got home from work, like animal control had been called.
How much time had it been?
God, I'm trying to think back. I couldn't leave, so I got home around like 5 p.m. and then the first time I heard of this was like in the morning. So
a couple hours.
It was like a whole day's work.
Maybe not poison. Maybe
several
she's just
hours.
a bitch.
Yeah, she might just be a bitch. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling it out. Okay, so
yeah.
So you get through the incident with the dog. You're now worried for your dog's life and for the fact that the dog is in the home with this crazy lady. What happens next before you move out?
I get the city comes and like again, the police come because there was a noise complaint that was called in. The noise complaint was called, and she didn't tell me this. I figured out from the police, who I think she called anonymously. But when the police came, they said, "Hey, we got a noise complaint of a dog barking." I don't keep my dog outside.
A corgi.
Yeah, from inside the house, it would not bother anybody else in the neighborhood because it's inside the house. But a noise complaint was called to the city to come because the dog was barking, and I know who it was. And the police came and told me like, "Hey, Liza called us," and like, again, sorry you had to deal with it.
She called the
From
city
inside the
on
house.
you, on her own house,
on her own house. Yeah.
On her dog roommate.
Who is this person?
Yep.
Wow.
And, she has her own dog too. I think she treated well, and like it's like she doesn't like it's not like I don't get dogs. Why are dogs barking?
What kind of dog does she have?
Get me, man.
What kind of dog she have?
It was a mutt. I don't know. I really don't know.
It
wasn't like a pit bull or anything like that. Got him.
So really, really bad landlord. You decide to leave.
Yeah. And then there's a brief period just between, now and then it kind of gets messy because I had a friend who's like basically moved back from Detroit and is in a similar situation. He's like, I need a place to stay now. And I was like, I'm telling you, I live with this crazy lady, but if you're about to get kicked to the curb and you need a place to stay, you can rent one of my rooms. That got okayed. And so instead of us just like banding together and taking over the house, now there's two miserable people in the house. And then finally one day, both of us were just like, and I tried multiple times to get the lease terminated. In fact, the very first time that, my now wife was at the house and I got the call saying you can't have people in the house. I'm like, well, that's stupid. I don't want to live in a prison. Like, I want to terminate the lease. And start looking. I was like, this is like my 2-month notice or whatever. She's like, no. Like, what? What do you mean no? I was like, I'll pay the extra month or whatever. I just want out of here. Like, I'll help you, find a new tenant, but I don't want to live here anymore.
No, you were her permanent resident at that point.
Hotel California.
No, it's funny. I tried to figure out like, what are my options here while I was still living in the house, and so many people. There's so much information about people trying to not get evicted. I was like, I want to get evicted. I couldn't find anything. So I just endured, and then finally when my friend was there, he's like, dude, we can't live with this, and he like talked me into just getting the hell out of there. So what I did, so I lived there from like June until it was November 7th when we moved out. And we cleaned up everything. We didn't trash the place. I paid the last month and I paid for all of November too. Plus, I didn't get my deposit back. And one day we just get a U-Haul and just head out. She like catches us while we're moving. And she said, just leave the keys on the counter. I'm like, okay, see ya. And we move out. That was, again, like November of 2020. We don't get anything. I don't get anything in the mail. I'm like, she's going to try to come after us. And that whole next year, I was like, scared of some legal action being taken. And, and I'm in a bad place financially too, because I just paid, a month's rent, then the next month's rent, losing my security deposit.
It was very reasonable of you.
Then I had to pay a deposit for a new house, and then the first month's rent for the new house. So I am just screwed financially here. So I'm just holding my breath. I was working 2 jobs to kind of get out of credit card debt and whatever. When
was the next time you heard from her, if at all?
I have not heard from her. The next time I heard anything about this was in May of this year, because I got a Credit Karma ding that says, "Hey, you have a new collections account on your report."
Wow.
And yep, and then it shows Liza's name when I do my Credit Karma report details. And get this, so it's like my rent was like $1,500 a month. So I lived there June, July, August, September, October, to November. So that's 5 months. So I had 7 months remaining on this year contract. So it'd have been like 10 grand or something like that. And so the collections is for like 12 something. So on top of just, charging me an entire 7 months of rent, like I apparently there's some charges for damages or something that my security deposit didn't cover.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know where that number's from. And, I don't know how long she can wait before sending it to collections, especially after not like sending me anything.
But did she actually send it to collections, or did she just send it to, like, she just sent a report of the debt to the credit reporting agency?
There's another company on my report, other than her. It's like IC Systems or something like that.
She sold the fictional debt.
She either sold the debt or hired a collection agency to come after you.
And you're saying they never got a hold of you via phone. They never sent you a letter. Nothing.
No, I don't think so. I mean, she has my email too. I mean, I don't know if that's like a proper way to contact somebody, but I literally was just waiting. When's she gonna come after me? And 4 years later, we just got married. I'm not thinking about this stuff. And then all of a sudden, my Credit Karma just ding. You have another collections on your report or something like that. I'm like, what? And I don't know. And basically, where I'm at right now is like, do I even try to fight this, or do I, just wait for it to fall off the report eventually? Because I'm not paying 12 grand. I don't know who has 12 grand laying around now.
You're definitely not paying 12 grand.
Yeah, you're definitely not paying 12 grand. Go ahead.
I have a series of thoughts. So, first of all, I'm sorry that I was rude earlier and I made fun of you never making a real band. You're the victim here.
He's not sorry. This is his not sorry face.
No, I'm genuinely.
Well, I can see Liza for Damages. I could have been in a famous band.
Yeah, right. But no, this landlord is bad. Sometimes we have callers, and our callers are the baddies. And usually, when we have callers, our callers are the good guys. You're one of the good guys. I'm sorry this happened to you. You gave her extra money you didn't need to give her. You tolerated a lot of abuse. I don't even know what to classify. Putting the dog shit in your hockey bag ass. It's borderline chemical warfare, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I was thinking she was throwing bombs and then the mustard gas came out.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this analysis for you. I want you to fight this, okay? So as a starting point, in Texas, there's all these different rules around what creditors have to do to contact you. There's contact requirements for debt, and there's office hour requirements that they're not calling you late at night. There's written notice requirements. Sounds like they haven't met any of those.
Well, I don't think they're trying to collect it.
Well, during the collection period. So now we have the reporting period, right? But I'm saying your argument's going to be, hey, they didn't communicate properly at all. I dispute the amount. I dispute the validity of it. And I dispute that they didn't follow the proper procedure in the collection process. And you're going to write all of this down, and you're going to report it to the credit bureaus, and you're going to try to get this taken off. Because when you report it with that narrative, it's going to flip, and now they have to provide their evidence. And that's my starting point.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the options. And I think the very first option is you have the narrative, write it down, send it over, be very factual. I would include only the most important parts of all of what you just described. But the biggest thing is that, really there's a legal phrase called constructive eviction. She didn't actually evict you and tell you to leave, but if you make the tenancy so terrible and horrible and awful that you just can't live there anymore, which her level of abuse sounds like, I mean, frankly, just the dog itself was a problem, right? And how she was going about it. This sounds like she was just laying around waiting for this to happen, and then was like, woke up one day and was like, Wesley, I'm reporting this to the credit bureau. Because it seems like it's possible she could have sued you, got a debt, and then turned it in. But that seems less likely because you would have almost for sure heard about it. Yep. She would have had to get you served and all that. But what you can do is reach out to the company that's on the report. You just ask them what it is. You tell them, I don't have any evidence of this debt. Have them send it to you so you can look at it, because that's going to determine what you need to do next. If she's got a judgment against you, then more likely than not, there are some legal services that we can get you connected with that will help you to get that removed. Because if a credit bureau is reporting on a judgment, they're not, and you're like, I don't know that amount, but they're like, look, a court said you did, right? So then you have to go fight that. If it's no court and it's just someone sent the amount, then what Josh said is going to actually be very effective to help. And if you really, let's say you come into some money over the next, couple of months or whatever, you could sue her for a declaratory judgment and maybe not get damages back, but you can get her to have to undo it. You can get her to have to send a report. You can get a judgment that says she screwed this over and that she lied. Now, again, that's money and time and energy. So practically, you raise the question, what if I just leave this on my report? Some people choose to do that. It'll roll off after some years, but in 4 years from now, what if you guys want to buy a new house, right? What if you want to go do some other things and it looks like you're a deadbeat tenant? You know, it's a problem. That being said, if it's been on there for 4 years, do you know how long it's been on there?
No, it literally, I check my Credit Karma every day because I've been trying to, get my score back up, and it was in May of this year.
It might be on there for anywhere from 3 years from the beginning of the debt all the way to potentially 7 years. What was the length of the lease that you signed?
A year.
Okay.
And I think it was, it was a year.
Okay. So it might be on there for a number of years, which is why at the very least you've got to do what Josh suggested and try and write the credit agency. But Panda, what do you think? What's your gut take on this?
Dang, man, I'd hit her up like, what the hell did I do to you, man? Send her an email. Like, this is stupid.
She wants the contact. She's the crazy ex that's like lighting your car on fire just so you come outside.
The toxic lover you didn't want, bro. Hey, just take it off my shit, dog. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing physical here, right, with you and Liza? Just be honest.
No, and I've never
We won't tell your wife, who was just your mover before, which is an incredible tale of love.
Yes.
Oh, I know you're talking. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant did I get so pissed that I beat the hell out of her? And the answer to that is no. And then there was no advances on me by her, thankfully.
Okay. All right. I just had to ask. I mean, she sounds like an ex-girlfriend.
Now, I just Googled this. Did you know there's actually no law against mailing dog poop to her?
What about panda poop?
Just throwing out
Panda's here.
options.
Bro, I'll get 2 4x4s in and out right now and a milkshake. Hello.
Yeah. Chemical warfare deserves chemical warfare. I mean,
this is America. July 5th.
Right, July 5th.
But, okay, question to that though. So, with the little details like that, like the dog shit and just being generally an ass, is that what I want to be? Writing when I write the agency, or just
we've made a lot of jokes here tonight. Most of mine have been very funny. But there's a serious thing that we're dealing with here. Okay, so let's talk more broadly, right? Let's use Wesley Snipes here as an ability to talk to the listeners here. So what are the things that you should do, Bill, when you have a landlord that's behaving crazy and you want to terminate the lease early? Let's start with that.
Document and gather evidence. So even if it's just a conversation, you write it down and email yourself, or you message them, hey, just to confirm what we talked about, blah, 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 right? Or, hey, just to confirm I did this, and this. But you record it so you have the ability to go through and give a coherent, cohesive, orderly recitation of the facts. So when the dog poop happened, where it happened, what was the result, then there's a way to be able to describe that in a way that demonstrates the severity of it. Yeah. Hey, she threw some dog poop in my hockey bag. All right, fine, right? But what is the legal word for that, right? Yeah. That's actually assault. That's battery in some states. I have no idea. Right? To take, if you threw shit at someone. Depends on the size
of the dog.
Right. If it's just Chihuahua, not so bad, right? But literally, if you threw poop at someone, that would be a crime. And so she has delivered organic chemical badness to you, right? And that is something that the law doesn't allow. Her general being an ass, it's probably not going to get anywhere, and it's not going to really help unless you were in the court and talking about how bad of a person she is. But you just want to focus on the things that matter, right? She continued to misrepresent the lease. She kept trying to pressure you to do other things. She set rules and threatened your ability to live there with rules that did not apply. Go ahead, Josh.
Most of the people that are going to be watching at home are going to be renters, right? Yeah. And of the people that subscribe to the show, by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the best show that you've ever done it to.
I agree.
Even the ones that like our show that are landlords, none of the people that watch this show are going to be putting dog poop in a hockey bag. And if you do that, unsubscribe. Unlike, don't watch our show. We don't want you on this show. So I want to talk to the broader audience of okay, you have a bad landlord and now you're thinking about leaving. I actually think, Wesley Snipes, that you were too kind and you hurt yourself. You shot yourself in the foot. You gave this lady extra money even though you knew you would be terminating it early and you knew you would be leaving. You shouldn't have done that unless you're going, okay, we're going to terminate this lease. I'm willing to give you another month or 2 more months of rent. I need you to sign something that says this is done, because you didn't get that. You just tried to do the right thing without getting an agreement. You tried to do the right thing without getting paperwork. You did not get a clean separation, and now it's affecting your credit. Now this woman who already wasn't reasonable, right? If I'm dealing with a landlord that is unreasonable, I'm not giving them $1 until they've signed something that says my lease is terminated and I have no further obligation. Or it could say, in exchange for this last 2 months rent, the lease is now considered terminated.
And here's the other part about that. If you document this, hey, we've had these conversations, we've done this stuff, these things have happened, I cannot live here anymore. What I'm willing to do is give you this, this, and this that I don't have to give you in order to end it peaceably. And she says, fuck you, no. And you still leave. Now you have documentation of not only what her problems are, but that you sought a reasonable resolution. So now later, let's go to 2024. You show up in front of a court, or you're trying to get this thing undone, or you're sending it into the credit bureau, and you're like, look at these horrible things she did. She evicted me. There was no basis for this debt to exist. It's not you going, and so I did this, he said, she said. You're going, look at what I did. And does it prove that those things happened? No, but it's more likely that they happened, right? That's just a little bit of advice for folks along the way, and for even you, Wesley, as you go along and deal with other kind of situations that could turn bad. It's just how to get those documented. But here, your own memory of what happened is still a fact. It's still evidence, right? So when you submit it to the credit card agencies, or if you take it a little step further than that, you might need to be able to give that good recitation. And so I would say, I echo Josh, go to the credit agencies first, try to get that removed at the very least. Report back to us. Let us know how that goes. And if it's not working right, we can then get you some resources about that. If you need to go the legal route, to go that way.
Yeah, reach back out to us. What you're on right now, if you ever played a game of poker, I use this analogy a lot. You're trying to get information without giving information, right? So when you see this report, call, be like, what is this? I have no record of this. Get the evidence from them, and then you can see, like Bill said, was there a judgment? There probably wasn't. If there was a judgment, what are our next steps to get this resolved? Okay? Feel free to check back in with us, call back in like in a week or two and let us know if you're having progress, okay?
All right, yep, sounds good. No, I mean, and to your point, everyone at work wanted to know what was going on every day. It was like the water cooler talk, and I did. That's all they hammered in was like, make sure you're doing everything via email so you have a record. I have a picture of the dog crap somewhere.
Oh yeah.
We don't
gotta go to the archives.
Yeah, wait. Why don't you say Panda's nodding? He's like,
I'm
yeah,
down, bro.
Yeah, he's in. He wants to know what he needs to beat after he goes to In-N-Out later.
Oh, I'm lactose intolerant, bro. I'll mess some stuff up.
Yeah, it's a corgi, man.
I'll leave a stretch mark on that poop.
How do you clean a hockey bag? Did you just throw it away?
Yeah, and because it had been sitting in the backyard, so it kind of thankfully dried out.
So it
was very easy. Yeah,
oh no,
so
the poop dried out. The poop dried out. Got it.
Yeah. No, of course, all the clothes and gear went in the wash, and then but
right.
it didn't make a giant mess.
Well, I'm glad I don't play hockey. Thank you so much for your time, Wesley Snipes. Do you feel like you got heard and you got a little bit of help and advice today?
No, 100%. Yeah, and we are looking to buy a house and all that stuff, and this is it's making me feel pretty positive about trying to get this off my report. So I definitely will touch base with you guys once I get some traction on this. And man, it's nice to know it wasn't just like a dude. Yeah, you're screwed. You signed a contract. Don't even try to fight it. So that's what I was wanting today, and I kind of have like a loose roadmap to follow. So I really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. We're happy to help. Wesley, don't forget to pay your taxes.
Yeah, Wesley.
All right. See you, man.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.
I love that part when you guys, at my last job, a long time ago actually, had some engineers that would verbally tell you to do some stuff. Then I was like, no. So what I would do, per our conversation,
Ooh.
you said to change this fixture, because at my last job, if I had to change the light fixture, I had to ask permission basically from the architect. Guys, egos, we all get it. Engineers, designers. Oh no, I get it, brother, but the architect is the head of any build, no matter what.
Yeah.
But he gets the mechanical, electrical, engineer, designer, plumber to give their advice. He goes, hey, bro, no, that's just not, that's not going to be good to do that because, water, electricity. Oh, yeah, you're right. It looks good for sure. And that's what the architect's job is, to look good,
Right.
and to save some power. But then you get, and then I would go in there. Per our conversation, you wanted me to change this light fixture, correct? Without the permission of the architect? Well, I can't do that. In nice words, PC. And then I'd get all the PDFs, send it to the architect. Once the PM would see it, we'd be like, Panda, who told you to move this light? I said, no. Well, I was asking, sir. I'm not the smartest guy.
I
just asked.
What we were supposed to do.
I'm the biggest guy. To this day, per our conversation, you said you wanted 30 minutes for this much money and you're going to take care of the travel fee, correct? Just double checking. I forget things. Oh, bullshit. I got a great memory, bro. I just want it on paper.
Yep. That's it.
Just I learned that from my buddy. I was telling you about one of my buddies is a business owner, and he always tells me, get a text.
Yeah.
Get a voicemail.
Anytime you can document something, it's going to protect you. Well, that was crazy. What do you think at home? Do you have a landlord story that can top that? We want to hear about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get in the comments section. It's the Barely Legal Show. If you have a crazy legal story and you want to talk to some lawyers anonymously, for free, call us.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
Nothing at all. I don't know how we're going to pay for it, to be honest.